Conversations with Mark and Debbie, the mediums. Mark Stewart, the Scottish medium, and Debbie Wolf, the smallest medium. Conversations on topical subjects. On subjects other mediums would not dare talk about, but we do. For a quick reading, we can talk to spirits now. Scottish style mediumship.
Hello,
Hey, everybody.
It's her fault we haven't been here for 2 weeks. Not mine, her fault.
It's my fault. Well, it was my fault 1 week and his fault the other week.
I'm
right?
not accepting any responsibility for this. I was ill. You cursed me,
Well,
so it's your fault.
Sorry, y'all, but if you were waiting around for us. But anyway, we're back. Yay. Sorry about
In
that.
an unannounced section, because we tried using the one from 2 weeks ago, because we missed time this week. It's just been a... Anyway, we're back. Every week, we're back.
We're back.
So, news. Well, there's been a lot happening in 2 weeks, so I suppose I better go find the right media.
Find your little news and information header. There we are.
Yes. So, I said that a lot had happened, and now I can't think of what's happened.
Well, we did Cards with Mark 1 week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was quite successful.
Yeah, that was successful.
We did a private event last Sunday, which was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
Ugh. We've redone the network page, which is where you find out about events like this.
Oh, yeah.
We've been working on this off and on indirectly for about the last 3 months. We changed all the pricing for the professional training, and we kind of merged what we were doing, streaming, etc., into the free training that we were doing, so that people, because we're doing open circles and we do kind of do sort of semi-lectures when we're doing these conversations. I mean, these are educational, very serious educational.
Serious educational streams. Oops.
Words to that effect. So anyway, we've sort of rebranded this as Network, which is the first level 3 training. And we've got a nice newly designed website. And we've also closed down some of our other websites that we were doing for the professional training, because nobody was going to them. Everybody was going to Mark Stewart Medium and then clicking from there to go to the other domains.
Right. So he's centralized everything.
Yeah. So basically, go to markstewartmedium.com/training. That'll give you the overall of all 3 levels of training. And then under that, you've got network. Go to that page, and that'll tell you about the entry level 3. We're also not going to train anybody. And I mean this, I don't care if you come waving a check in my face until you've been to 2 events.
Yes.
At the free level, so that you see what we're doing, you can sample it, and then you can't turn around and say, I didn't realize that you were so good, and I can't afford this, and the time and effort and the pressure you're putting me under. So,
more like, I didn't realize how mean you are.
Yeah, most of that effect. You see, I'm blaming it all on her again. There you are. There is evidence, prima facie evidence for the court case. As
Right.
What else has been going on? The clinic is now fully open. I am seriously looking at getting a spiritualist church set up in that area. Ying and I, my wife, are moving to that town in approximately 2 months if I hear back from the mortgage broker. So I need to go and speak to him tomorrow. I think that's about all the news for now, unless you've got any.
Well, the news is the reason we missed the first Wednesday was because my husband finally got out of the hospital. So yay for that. Thank you all for your prayers.
I didn't send any, Debbie. I mean, I have to be completely honest.
Of course you didn't, but everybody else did. I asked for them. So
yeah. Okay. Right, folks. So what are we talking about tonight? Well, I'm going to rant and rave as per usual. The differences between Scottish spiritualist churches and American. Now, let's start at the beginning. We've done about 3 or 4 chats where we've been talking about Scottish spiritualism and Scottish spiritualism churches and Scottish mediums, all sort of wrapped around together to explain one very simple fact. Scotland has the highest per capita number of people, or lowest rather, per capita number of people per spiritualist church. America doesn't have the highest number, but it's getting fairly close. So just to put this, I mean, just get your heads around this, people. Scotland has one spiritualist church per 31,000 people. America has one spiritualist church per 3.25 million. So just get that out, count the number of zeros after the
So there
thing.
are few and far between here. It's hard to find one, actually, unless you're in certain areas of the country.
Yeah, and even then. Now, we've talked about Scotland being so good. I mean, I'm not going to reiterate that, although it will sort of seep into the conversation. It's the churches that create the mediums. The mediums are fantastic, and it's the mediums that get people into the churches, which causes them to build up. To be honest, we've got more mediums than we know what to do with, because the churches literally, it's like a production line. They just churn the mediums out. I mean, even if each church only gets one medium per year, per the size of the population, I mean, that's 200 mediums coming on target.
Yeah.
Every year. I mean, just think about that cumulatively. I mean, I'm 60,
Right.
so God, I'm not even going to try and do the mathematics, but you're talking about thousands of mediums, and we're talking good mediums. Right. So now we're going to look at the other side of the equation. Why is America so bad? Now,
no, bad is the wrong word. Choose your words carefully, or I'll get mad at you.
I am choosing my word carefully, and I am being very, very, very diplomatic, and I'm not using what I really think of some of the churches I have been to.
Some of the churches you have been to. I've been to a church that was great.
Okay. So have I.
Right.
If you include Canada, I have been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spiritualist churches in North America. Now,
how many of them were good and how many of them were bad?
One was excellent. One was very good. 2 were so bad, I can't even put into words, although I'm going to give the 2 that were bad, and I'm going to give the 2 that were good, because even the 2 that were good, I'm only doing that in comparison to the ones that were bad. They wouldn't stand up against any Scottish spiritualist church that I have worked
in. They're different things. It's not a religion here in the States, an official religion. I don't think.
These churches think they're religious.
But no, an official state religion recognized by the state.
Put the legalistic side. Put the legalistic element aside.
Well, that's why there aren't many of them.
It used to be illegal in Scotland, and we still had hundreds of churches.
Well, y'all are weird. Y'all are rebels.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk. Okay, but what qualifies me to talk about spiritualist churches? I am not. Well, I am. I am a reverend in America. I am not in Scotland, but there are 20 countries that have spiritualist churches. I have worked in 4 of those on platform in 4 of those countries. So I have worked in spiritualist churches in 4 different countries. And I think that gives me some claim to be able to say I've got some experience internationally of different churches in different countries.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm in Scotland. And Debbie and I are talking about plans for me to increase that number. And before I die, at my bucket list, the top of my bucket list is I want to work in all 20 countries.
All 20 countries. So
I may not do it. I may die
there's
trying.
Some travel involved. Some major travel involved there. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the worst. Now, I don't even think this church still exists. Ying and I went into this church on our honeymoon, and it was before I was a practicing. Well, I was literally just beginning to call myself a medium. I didn't have a lot of confidence, and I certainly was not going to try and work on church platform. So this is a church I've been to the service of, not a church I've worked in. And I haven't searched it to see if it's still there. There is a church that looks very similar under a different name. So it may be that it's changed its name. It may be the people that are running it have changed it. It may be that it's died a death. I honestly, and I really, you're gonna crucify me for saying this, but I honestly pray that it is dead. It was that bad.
So, explain why, please.
Okay, in a spiritualist church, you expect to see a medium working on platform. Everything else is minor details. But if you don't have a medium working on platform, how the hell do you call it a spiritualist church? one medium did get up on platform after a service that lasted for circa an hour and a half for approximately 60 seconds.
That was it?
That was it.
60 seconds?
60 seconds. Now, she did go direct. I'll give her that. And it was like, can I come to you, Debbie? Yes. I've got your father with me, Debbie, and he loves you. Can I come to you, Mark? Yes. I've got your mum with you, and she's crying because she's upset about something. Do you understand what she's talking about? Oh, yes. There you go. Bye-bye. And that was it.
Right. Oh, wow.
We had to set to what's called the spiritual address, and I'll come back to that when I get to the other churches. In the other churches, it was 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Here, it was like 35, 40 minutes. And I'm talking handwritten, full scap like this, where the woman's got the sheet of paper up in front of her, and she's reading it line verbatim.
And you can't see her because she's got the paper in front of her face.
I'm being sarcastic. But, you know, you could see the sheets of paper were being turned over, sheet after sheet after sheet after sheet. She'd done a lot of work. She'd written a lecture. And yes, if you were in university, it would have been very significant and all the rest of it. But Ying and I were looking at each other, trying to keep our eyes awake 10 minutes into it.
Mm.
Then we had the operatic performance. Now, I have nothing wrong with opera. And the woman was an absolutely brilliant singer, but she was on stage singing for about half the service.
Was there a medium in the other half?
Yeah, for 60 seconds.
Oh, that was the 60-second one.
Yeah. So, I mean, you basically got half an hour of, and there were hymns. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were hymns. It was a church. And they were giving their praise and all the rest of it. It was a religious service. Now, from a religious service point of view, it was great. It was okay. I could take any church of any denomination, Catholic, Protestant, Baptist, and if you changed the name of the church and just got the medium to just stand up and pretend she was saying hello, you honestly wouldn't have known the difference. Now, the one claim to fame, the one underlying unifying fact about every spiritualist church in the world, whatever we describe ourselves as, Christian, non-denominational, as a center, as a church, is that we give proof of life after death.
Right.
We don't prove there's a God. Some churches are Christian and they believe in God and Jesus. Some are non-denominational. Put all of that aside. That's not what we're talking about. But every church proves there's life after death. Whether you believe that proves there's a God or not is a matter of faith. Haven't yet met one medium or one spirit that said there's a God. I'm getting sidetracked. But that is the one thing that all spiritualist churches have in common. They prove life after death. This church did not prove there was life after death. The 60 or 90 seconds of messages, I've just increased it by 90 seconds, by 50%. And it sounds a lot more impressive, but anyway, put that aside.
Oh, well.
At the end of the service, now here's my huge criticism of what they were doing. If anybody would like a message, stay after the service and come up and get a cup of tea. Okay, fine. Now, Ying and I had already given generously in the collection. I can't remember how much, but probably about $25. So then we went up and we got charged $60 for our cup of tea or coffee and sandwich and my reading.
Tea, coffee, a sandwich, and a reading for $60.
It was all together. I mean, I can't honestly. We're talking almost 20 years ago, so I can't remember how much.
That's even more ridiculous. 20 years ago.
Yeah, not quite 20, just a couple of years off 20. I mean, it was our honeymoon, so we've been married for 16 years. So you're probably talking about 17 years.
16, 17, yeah.
16, 17 years when we were doing this. So, and the reading, I mean, it was like, it wasn't a circle, but they sat 20 of us in a circle. And the medium sits and goes around everybody. And it was more like aura reading. And he was going direct. That's the one thing I will say about him.
Okay.
That not one single reading was evidential. You know,
okay, that's not good. Yeah.
You know, the bit downstairs about your dad's here and he loves you. that's what they weren't private readings. I mean, it was everybody in a circle, and the readings were
Right.
5 to 10 minutes each. You know what you would do in a circle, the kind of
Right.
readings you would do in a circle. Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick.
Nice to see you with us. But I mean, he got about halfway through, and he could see that I don't know what my body language was doing, but he sort of looked at me and he said, "Do you want to do these readings?" And I said, "No, not really." "You don't seem too happy." So I sort of diplomatically said to him, "Well, can you please tell me why such a powerful medium such as yourself is making such a mess of doing the readings?"
Oh dear.
That kind of floored him.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm sure.
I am not
And
the only
that's
person.
as tactful as I've ever heard him be.
Yeah, I was deliberately being tactful. And that, for me, when I meet bad mediumship, that is tactful. So we got to the end of the utter crap, and my wife and I are leaving. I am not joking. 5 people independently came up to me and asked if they could get a private reading from me. Now, I had not said I was a medium. I had not said I could do readings, other than that comment that I gave to the medium, and that could just have been, I'm a passing by and here's what I think of you.
Yeah.
They had enough common sense to realize how utter crap. They got the Scottish accent. Now, there had been a lot of conversations. I mean, you have to meet my wife to understand how much the two of us stick out. I'm not that tall. I mean, I'm about an inch and a half short, 6 foot. But my wife is Chinese, and she's bigger than Ying. That's about the only thing I will say.
Everybody's bigger than me.
She's about 5'5", 5'6". So I mean, she's a small 5'5", 5'6".
Right.
So actually, no, it's probably nearer 5'4". So it's like Mr. Scottish Giant. And although she's British, she's got a British passport. She's been in the UK for 20 years. She comes from China, and she still speaks with an English, Chinese mix of
Right.
languages and all the rest of it. So if you didn't know she was British, you could quite easily think that she was Chinese. I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah.
So the two of us stick out like a sore thumb. So everybody's coming up. "Oh, who are you?" So I mean, the conversations were going like this. "Oh, we're on our honeymoon." "Oh, that's great. Where are you from?" "Scotland and China." "Oh, great. How did you meet?" "We met in the Spiritualist Church." "Oh, which Spiritualist Church?" "Portobello Spiritualist Church." "Oh, you've got a church in Scotland." Now, at this point in time, I knew absolutely nothing about American spiritualist churches. So I was actually thinking that there were going to be spiritualist churches everywhere, because that's my only term of reference, what I had experienced in Scotland. So I am literally thinking, "Oh God, this church is bad, but I'll go and find the next one." Anyway, put that aside. So of course, I'm asking questions about the church. "How often do you meet?" "Oh, once a month. We're a very busy church." "Why? How often does your church meet?" 5 times a week." What? I mean, literally, they were having heart attacks. Every question I asked them, they would ask the same question of me. How many mediums do you have in the church? And every single one of them, and this is another criticism I've got. Every single medium was reverend. "This is Reverend such and such, the treasurer. This is Reverend such and such, the church president."
I'm
I mean,
a reverend.
yeah, so am I, but I don't go around calling myself it. I mean, I've got it on the card so that if I go to another church and they say I'm a reverend, I can say, "Well, here, so am I. Here's my information to prove it." But I don't
could be Rev Dev. I never even thought about that. That would be good.
Rev Dev, the spiritualist medium. Actually, I could work with that. I could do one. Right.
Anyway, sorry guys.
Let's get back on track. My second church was in Buffalo. Now, this is a really bad church going, and I did work in platform here twice. And this church I'm going to criticize for the same issues that I'm going to come to with the good churches, but I'm only going to do it this way and say the medium that runs it was doing it as a corner, was doing it as, now, I knew her for 5 years, and I never once ever saw her give her a message. So I can't say that she's a bad medium. She might be a bloody fantastic medium, but in the 5 years that we worked together, and we're working together in business. I mean, she had me working in her church on two occasions, but I never once saw her give a message in the church, ever. Full stop.
Huh.
I never ever saw. Now she's got clients, and she got clients that were booking her, but I never ever saw. So just put that aside for a second. The church was run as a money-making center for herself.
Oh no, that's a no-no.
I
That's a
mean,
no-no.
for example, and this is something I've never seen anywhere else. Out would come the collection tray. Do you have a wish that you want to pass? So Debbie, do you have a wish you want to make today?
Sure.
Yes, I want my husband to be better. $5, please. Now, everybody, put your hands together for spirit, and let's send spiritual healing energy to Debbie's husband. Mark, do you have a wish? Yes, I want to get the mortgage approved for my new home. Right, $5. Mark, everybody, put your hands together and send the spiritual energy to Mark's mortgage broker. I mean,
wow.
I kid you not.
That's completely unethical, and she kept the money.
Well, it went to the church, of course.
Oh, right.
I mean, she is the church.
Right.
She turns up at the hotel, and she's dressed. I've got photos of me and her taken in the church, and she's dressed literally like the Pope. She's got this white silken gown on and the big cross, and she stands up. I mean, they take messages. They had me working on platform. I was giving my style of messages, so I get treated as a superstar every time I go near the group of people that I met there.
Right.
And they have a nice social exercise. They go to the hotel. I mean, they meet in a hotel, and then they go and have a meal in the hotel after the service. But to be honest, I think this is where she gets her private clients. She makes money in the services. She gets to say, I'm Reverend such and such, and I'm the head of the such and such church. And she's basically getting private readings out of it as well. So those are the two bad churches. Now let's do the two good churches.
Two good churches. All right.
So
you're still gonna rip them apart. Just yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The next one is in Lilydale. Oh God, I can't remember the name, but it's basically the largest independent spiritualist church in North America. Now, the president has changed, and I used to be a personal friend of the president, and I haven't been invited back to work since the presidency changed, and they only let me work for 15 minutes. So this is my biggest criticism of real American spiritualist churches. The mediums are only allowed to work for 15 minutes, and they must do a written, not to the extent of the one in Manhattan, but they must do a written address.
A spiritual address? Well, who says it has to be written?
They do.
Okay.
Because now they have this particular church has a reason for it, because they film the address and then they stream it, and this is what gets them all the views on Facebook.
Okay.
Now, as opposed to filming the mediums working, because they'd call out and all the other crap.
Right.
So you wouldn't want your mediums to be. You wouldn't want that to be representing your church in terms of mediumship.
Right.
I went direct. I did my usual rapid fire, and I got private readings out of it. And the video that they did of me is they've taken it down now, which I'm a wee bit upset about. But taking it down, I had got over 3,000 views on that video, where the highest, I think the second highest one that I looked at, and this is over a period of 5 years, had got 800. The average was between 300 and 500 views, and I'm clicking up. I mean, on a regular basis. I would look at it, and we're talking we're talking something that's years ago, that people are still finding it, and probably because it ranked the highest in terms of the numbers. But that's just my little ego. Put that aside. So that's criticism number one. The medium only works for 15 minutes. Now, there is a reason for that, which I'll come to in the next spiritualist church, which is the best one that I'm going to talk about. they do a lot of other things that are quite common amongst real churches. They have spiritual healing in the service. That is an absolute, for my gut feeling, that is an absolute no. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a place for spiritual healing, but it's touch healing and it's done privately between the healer and the person getting it, not in the church service.
Yes.
I got the feeling that this was just basically something that all the would-be mediums that couldn't do mediumship could do to take part in the service so that they felt as though they were part of the church and they were doing something.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, I may be wrong in that assessment because I didn't actually say that to anybody, but as an outsider looking in, that's what it looked like. So you've got the spiritual healing, you've got the mediumship limited to 15 minutes, you've got the address that they actually want it longer than 15 minutes, but they want a minimum of 15 minutes address, and they want the medium to work. Literally, they've actually said this to me. They want the medium to work not as little as possible, but as short as possible.
Why? That doesn't make sense.
Because they call out.
Oh.
You know, if you've got a church where the mediums are calling out, and they're not the mediums are not capable of doing much more than 3 messages. I mean, we'll get to that, and then I'm kind of going to jump to the next church, which was the best church that I've ever worked in, and I'll come to the criticism I've got of that church, which I can't apply to this church. Now, let's also just make a minor little point about this church. They have a circle, and they have a training program to teach you to be a mediumship, and it lasts for a year. So, Debbie, what do you think the church is charging for the mediumship?
Oh dear.
Training,
the church is charging.
Yes.
I don't want to know.
Give me a guess.
$1,000. 5,000.
Not quite.
3,000.
3,000 for umpteen circles during the year. Now, if anybody says I'm expensive, Church of the Living Spirit, that was the church. So it's a really nice church, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed going to the services. I like the people there very much. And you could take the people from that church and bring them to Scotland, and they would probably be quite comfortable in a Scottish church. But at the same time, there's a lot going on in that church that just I don't like. Right. So let's leave the best to last. Church, was it the Spiritualist Church of East Aurora?
Yes.
This is the best. If anybody's looking for a spiritualist church, this is the best spiritualist church I have ever worked in North America. Now, the first thing I liked about them was basically I was heading over to America last year, just reached out to a whole bunch of churches, whole bunch of people that I knew, said, I'm going to be passing. Would you like the Scottish medium to appear in your church? And they wrote back and bit my hand off. So, yes. First thing was they asked me to do training. So, it's actually on the website. You can go and see it. I'm talking for about an hour and teaching about Scottish mediumship as a comparison. Then they asked me to work on the Sunday service. And what I did was I took 4 of their mediums. I did my usual bang, 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 bang. So Debbie was there. She can verify this.
Yeah.
And it's also on video, so you can go and see it. I took 4 of their mediums and I trained them how to work the way that I was working. Now, positive, they go direct. So that's huge tick for an American church. And that's one of the main reasons, not because they let me work and they let me do what I was doing, but because they go direct. But the negative thing I'm going to say is their mediums were I'm not going to say their mediums were incapable. That's not what I mean. They were probably very good at private readings, but they couldn't do more than 2 or 3 readings. When I spoke to the church president, she actually said words to the effect of, Mark, this is absolutely amazing. How do you do this? Because I can't get anybody to stand up on platform and do more than 3 readings. So,
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, neither do I, because here in Scotland, if a medium could only do 3 readings, they wouldn't last very long in a Scottish church.
Yeah.
Very few do the 30 to 40 that I'll do, but you typically in a Scottish church, you'll get between 10 to 15 readings in a typical service. Most mediums nearer 10, a few 15, very few above 15. There's
Mhm.
only one other medium that gets up to the kind of numbers that I get to, but put that aside.
That you know of.
Yeah, that I know of. Yeah, a good point that I know of.
Yeah.
But for your church president to say to me, the visiting medium, I can't get my mediums to do more than 3 readings
Yeah.
because they're not capable of it. It took me 10 minutes with those 4 mediums just to give them some basic tips and pointers. And the 4 of them, all 4 of them, did 3 or 4. They literally one
I
after
think
the
they did 3 each, but
Yeah.
but it was just quick. It wasn't. We
Yeah.
didn't have time for them to do more. But yeah.
Correct. But I mean, if I had had another couple of hours to work with them, I could have got them very easy. I mean, they were good. Don't get me wrong. The readings they gave were excellent.
Oh yes, they were.
They picked up mini rapid fire. Let's just call it a mini rapid fire, because that's all we had time for, and there were only so many people in the congregation. And I had given readings to what, about 75% of them?
Yeah, most of them.
60, 75%? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, there weren't that many people for them to work with, even if they could work longer. But the point is, these 4 mediums were good enough to pick up the basics from me and to get up on platform, and they all said, "Oh God," but they did it.
They did.
So good on
They
all
all
of them.
did it.
Yeah. So like I said, if you're looking for a church, even if it's not a church to go to on a regular basis, if you're looking for a church to go to as a one-off, go to East Aurora Spiritualist Church. Okay, so I mean, that's about it. I mean, I think I've covered just about all the basic points. Can you think of anything else to add, Debbie?
You've covered everything, and we're out of time. So I can't
Yeah.
think of anything. No.
No. Apart from send your mediums to Scotland for a couple of weeks and we'll teach you what to do. And then when they go back.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, everybody. It's been our usual pleasure. Debbie has, oh no, she's back. She was frozen, but she's back.
Oh dear.
Oh, word of warning. I am planning on working. I've been getting really into AI. We're about halfway through our themed 3 months of Celtic. You know, we're talking about everything Scottish. I get to rant and rave every Wednesday. I love it. We're going into AI for the next one in terms of how it, not AI mediums, but how it affects the mediumship industry and how it's going to affect everybody and how mediumship is a job that you can do. Anyway, that aside, you see our little video that comes up front. Watch it very carefully over the next couple of weeks because I'm using AI to re-engineer it, and I'm not telling Debbie what I'm doing with it. And she is going to have kittens.
So, I probably will.
Well, we show them the kittens.
I have a kitten. I only have 1 kitten. The rest are complete adults.
I came across, I don't know if I can get this to work. No, I can't because it's a link. It's not going to work.
Oh,
okay.
No. Oh, well.
Next week.
Well, bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Been a pleasure.